All right, you guys, happy Wednesday. This is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2 Semester 2 for week 16 Wednesday. Go ahead and pause the video and answer the following questions. All right, you guys, so we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in. So I went ahead and released your schedule for your finals, and this is what it's gonna look like. And so to put things into perspective so that way you guys know when it's gonna be, your final starts on June 3rd, which is really inconvenient because it's that Friday. Do you guys see that? So for that Friday, you're gonna have first period and second period. Classes start at 7:45. Each of the class finals are 120 minutes, which is 2 hours. And I know you're thinking, wow, that's like really long. And I totally agree. But your common district final does have a time task, and it's supposed to be for 2 hours long, and so your other finals will be around that same time frame. But the good thing about that is you only have 2 classes a day, and you guys get out of here at 11:55. You can go home and study for your other finals if you need to. Then on June 6th, so you have your weekend, which I feel like is really kind of inconvenient. You come back on June 6th and you take your final for third period and fourth period. So your class is third period right here. So I will see you guys that day at 7:45 to 9:45. It's a common district final, so that's important to know because it's a time test. You're not allowed to be here late. I'm gonna give you guys until 8 o'clock. If you're later than 8 o'clock, you don't have enough time to take the final. So in which case, you can wait around until your fourth period class starts, but it's too late for you to take the final then. The question itself has, it's a time test, and it's a highly secure test. So when you guys walk into this class for that Monday, your backpack needs to be along the walls. I will be taking your cell phones. You put your name on a sticky note, and then they need to be turned off, and it has to be in a bin because if any of your cell phones goes off in the middle of the test, everybody's test is invalidated, and you guys have to come back here on a Saturday with someone else to take that test again, and we don't want that to happen, obviously. And so it's a secure test, just like what you had to do last year for geometry and the year before that for Algebra 1. You'll have 2 hours to take the test. When you're done, you bring it up. I will basically grade it right then and there and let you know where your grade is, and I'll insert on Infinite Campus so you have your finalized grade before you leave, hopefully, depending on how busy I get with that. After that, you have your fourth period class. There is a 10-minute break in between there, and then you guys go home at 11:55. So that is your June 6th. On June 7th is your last day of school as a junior. So for that day, which is a Tuesday, you take fifth period and sixth period. The last day for you to turn any missing work in is going to be on June 6th by 7:45 a.m. Not after June 6th, not after 7:45 a.m. When you guys are taking your final, I will be updating your grade. When you guys are done with this class, my hope is that I will have all the finals graded and all the grades inserted because I don't want any extra assignments. I have to focus on my fifth and sixth and fourth period class then. So the last day to turn anything in is June 6th, 7:45. Don't ask for extensions because my answer is gonna be no. It's not because I'm trying to be mean and not trying to help you out, but I still have my other classes I have to deal with as well, fourth, fifth, and sixth period. So up to this point, I said there's no deadlines, and that's true. I've been pretty, liberal with things like this. You do have a 10 to 40% penalty on late work, but the last day, and this is final because it's the day of the final, June 6th, 7:45. That includes all math excels. It includes any of the assignments that you guys need to turn in class. It includes any of the note packets that you guys have not turned in class. Anything that needs to be turned in, June 6th, 7:45 a.m. Pretty finite. Okay, so just want to make sure you guys know that. And that said, you guys, you don't need to be here on that Wednesday. I will be here on that Wednesday just to finish up a few grading and whatnot. But other than that, that's kind of the end of the semester. You guys are on June or May 4th today. So you have week 17, week 18, week 19. So 3 more weeks. And then we hit the ground running for finals, okay? We will be done with this unit most likely by the end of week 18, and then I'm going to reserve week 19 and part of week 20 to do study guides. And the study guides are questions very similar to on the final. So I will be doing that. All right, so today I'll be grading your stuff. So if you have any missing assignments, please turn it in. You should also take a look when you guys sign in how many check marks you guys have. So anything that you turn in, I give you guys a check mark. If you don't have any check marks, but you have been showing up, you'll get a 55%. but if I don't have anything in the grade, there's nothing for me to input into the grade book. So for those of you guys that have been regularly turning your assignments in after each of the days, you have your check mark, so you're good to go. Okay. All right. So yesterday was on Tuesday. We did a lot of notes on Tuesday. I'm sorry for that, but we talked about modeling with growth and decay. We went over different examples of when something increases in value, like for example, cost of tuition is going up every single year. Something that has a decrease will be like a car, for example. When you drive the car off the lot, it automatically goes down. And we also talked about the differences about investment, annual, quarterly, daily. And then we went on to graphing with the letter E, which is Euler's number. And so we started with that. And then I also had you guys use your calculator to figure out where is E located and figuring out simplifying equations and whatnot. And so today we're going to continue with this. This is week 16, Wednesday. We're going to go over log properties, continue with it, finish our notes on E. And you guys do not have a math Excel for week 16 for the assessment. You just have the Desmos that I'm going to have you guys do in class. And as long as you complete the Desmos with your name on it, and I keep track of, who's doing that, you'll get a full points for that. Okay. And only thing you guys need today is your TI-84. So come on up and grab that. You need to have your guided notes, obviously, but you already have copies of it. And then grab an iPad if you don't have a cell phone. So you'll be doing Desmos. And so if you want to use your laptop for Desmos, you're welcome to grab one as well. So whichever you need is totally fine. So make sure you guys grab your TI-84 because you're going to need it today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's stuff. So first thing is grab your guided notes. I'm going to finish up this material, and then you can use this on your Desmos as well. You guys know for your assessment, you can go ahead and use any of the materials we use in class, but on the common district final, there is no notes of any kind because it is a district final. And I want to make sure I spend a little bit of time talking about that, even though you guys have had it in geometry and algebra 1, but I feel like with the pandemic, there was like just a lot of things that it didn't work well, in my opinion. But anyways, I want to just take a moment to talk about this so that way you guys know what to expect. Okay, so CDF is a common district final, and you're going to take it for algebra 2. So a little bit of information on the common district final. All students in algebra 2, or I should say enrolled in Washoe County School District, so that's 13 high schools, you take the same test, okay? I don't make it, so there's nothing for me to change for it. It is going to be multiple choice, fill in the blank, and multiple select. What that means is that there's more than one right answer, okay? You'll have a Scantron, obviously, and then when you're done with it, a computer grades it. So I will grade it with my computer. And it is a high secure test. So that means when you guys come in here, your backpack and personal belongings needs to be along the wall. There's absolutely no cell phone, iWatches, technology of any kind, or else it could be a violation, okay? In addition to that, let me see what else I want to mention. I think that's all I really need to mention. Yeah, that's about it. Yep. Oh, the test itself is 15% of your grade, so your safety grade, again, is at a 75%. You need a 60% or more to pass this class, okay? just so you know. And don't worry, because I will give you guys your study guide review for all of week 18 and 19. And then you'll take your final in week 18, Monday, or sorry, week 20, Monday at 7:45 a.m. And so that's kind of everything that you guys need to know about that. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and revert back over here. So yesterday we already finished number 14. Today we're going to take a look at number 15, or number 2, sorry. Yeah, that's 14 at 1 and 14 to 2, I guess. That's how you see it. All right. So first thing I want you guys to do is go ahead and grab your calculator. Let's go ahead and graph that. The only difference is that you have a +1, -2, and a negative e. So how is that going to be modified with those changes compared to the first one? And if you're like, well, what do we do with the first one? Because I didn't actually see how you did it. You need to go over to the YouTube channel and make sure you guys watch the video for week 16 Tuesday to get caught up. Oh, no, I'm gonna do that one. Okay. Don't convert. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is let me go ahead and add that one for yesterday to your YouTube channel. Week 16 Tuesday. And let me just make sure your video is there, because with all the videos that I do every day, sometimes I get a little bit discombobulated with which one I uploaded yet, which one I haven't. So just give me a second. Okay, so yours is right here. And continue. All right, so looking at this part right here, let's go ahead and attempt to graph this. And one of the things that you should note is that if there is a negative right here, what that means is you're going to be reflecting that over the x-axis. So it's just like a flipped over. And what that means is that if you have a little star right here, you just flip it over. So your little star just goes over that x-axis. Okay. Now that -2 right here means that you're going to go 2 down. And then that +1 means you go 1 over to the left. And also that 2 is going to tell you where your horizontal asymptote is. And because you're going to go 2 down, your horizontal asymptote is going to be on -2. So I'm going to go 1, 2 right there. This line right here is going to be my horizontal asymptote. And then from here, remember, you're going to go 2 down and then 1 over to the left. So 2 down, if I go 1 over to the left, that's my next dot right there. And my graph, remember your graph over here went like this normally. That's because it's a y equals a +e. If y equals a -e, remember I said it needs to be reflected over the x-axis. So it'll go in that direction. Okay, so if I were to go ahead and draw this, it will look something like this. Like that. All right, so now I need to fill out the chart. So grab your calculator. So here's my calculator right here. I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to go ahead and graph this with a parent function, which is just e. So y equals, I'm just going to put e, so second, ln, and then put x, like that, on my calculator, then hit graph. That is my parent function. That's typically what it looks like, okay? Then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to second table or second graph for the table. I need to fill out the first table with this. And so if you take a look at it right here, first thing I'm going to go ahead and graph with this one is going to be y is equal to a -e to the x, okay? The second part right here on the graph is negative e to the x plus 1 minus 2. So do you see the transformation there? So with your calculator, let's fill out the table first with just y equals negative e to the x. And for those of you guys who are just simply looking at your cell phones, remember you only get 55%. So with my y, I'm going to hit second, insert, make sure there's a negative in front of that. Second graph, so I can get that table. If you take a look at your table right here, you guys, when x is equal to 0, your y is negative 1. When x is equal to 1, your y is negative 2.718. When x is equal to 2, my y is negative 7.37 or 89. So then for my first table, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and take this, paste it over here. Like so. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm going to say when x is 0, it is negative 1. When x is 2, it's a negative 2.718. When x is 3, it's a negative, or I'm sorry, hold on a second. 1, 2, there we go. Negative, when x is 2, it is going to be negative 7.389. Now, when you transfer this over, remember your x value, you're going to go ahead and have very similar values. You're going to go ahead and do a minus 1 because it's a minus 1 for the x, and then a minus 2 for the y. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to look at, okay, so for the x values, when x is 0, 0 minus 1 is a negative 1. When x is 1, 1 minus 1 is a 0. When x is 2, 2 minus 1 is a 1. So there's your new values for the transformation. Then on the second part, which is y, you're going to minus 2. So with the y, you need to go ahead and take negative 1 minus 2 is a negative 3. Negative 2.7 minus 2 is a negative 4.718. Negative 7.389 minus 2 is a negative 9.389. And that is your value right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the application part of this. So it says, since 1972, the Wildlife and Fish Service has kept the list of endangered species in U.S. between 1972 to 1998. The number of species can be modeled by this equation with the E, and that's why I want to show you guys a real life application. So you're like, what is the purpose of me learning about Euler's number? What do we do with this? Well, this is how you apply it to real life, where T is a number of years since 1972. So between 1972 to 1998, how many years do you guys have in between there? You can just go ahead and subtract it. So I think 20, or I'm sorry, hold on a second, 1998. Oh, you know what? Just kidding. So not 1998, 1990. So I read the question correctly. So between 1990 to 1972, I think there are 18 years in between there, right? Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. So 18 years. So then what you're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say, what is the number of endangered species in 1972 and then 1990? Well, if it's going to be in 1972, how many species is in there? Well, your T is going to be equal to 0, right? Because you're starting in 1972. When it's in 1990, your T is going to be 18 because there are 18 years in between there. So let's figure out how many endangered species do you have at 1972. So we're going to use a formula. S of T, which is S of 0, is equal to 119.6 e to the 0.0917 times 0. And that's what we're going to put in your calculator. For T equals 18, you do S of 18 equals 119.66 e to the 0.0917 times, and you put 18. So you have two different equations there. Grab your calculator, plug that in, and see how many endangered species do you have in 1972, and then how many endangered species you have 18 years later. I would imagine that because they're endangered, your number is going to be a lot smaller. You know what I mean? Because they're probably dying off. Well, before I even insert this, I know that this is just going to be 0. Okay, so what is e to the 0 equal to? If you plug that into your calculator, I know some people say, oh, it's going to be 0. No, not this time. It's not going to be 0. And how do you tell? If you're not sure, just use your calculator. And you're just going to put second, E, and then 0. Enter, and you should just have 1. So for those of you guys on Zoom, you should be able to see second, E, 0 is just 1. So then I have 119.6 times 1. And guess what? You just have 119.6 species. That's how many species you're starting off with. Now let's see how many you have 18 years later. So then I have this part right here. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to grab my calculator again. And then with my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and insert 119.6 second E, so that you have that. And on top of the exponent, you're going to put 0.0917 times 8. Enter. So then how many species do you have? You have 249. Actually, you know, in this case, it didn't go down. It actually went up. It went up because I think they're kind of preserving them and making sure that they're still having babies. And so in 1990, you have 249 species, but you started off with 119. And those are your 2 answers. Okay, so then let's go on to the next part right here. Continuous compound interest, okay? The formula that you use, so that E Euler's formula doesn't just apply to like animals and whatnot. You can also do this with money. So the formula you use with money is called A PERT. So A equals PERT. It's called A PERT, okay? A is your total amount that you get. P is your initial amount that you put into the bank. R is going to be rate in decimals. And T is just time in years. So then let's take a look at question number 2. You deposited $1,000 into an account that gives you 8% annual interest rate, which is actually pretty good. It is compounded continuously, and the continuously part just means that you use an E. Find the balance after 3 years. So let's do that. So A of 3 years is equal to $1,000. That's how much you put into the bank. E to the R. R is 8%, which is 0.08, because if you convert 8% to decimal, it's 0.08. Times T, which is 3 years. So how much money do I get from $1,000? All right, so with my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and put in 1,000. Second, ln, so you get the E, 0.08 times 3. So in 3 years, you are going to get $1,271 back. Which I know you're thinking like, well, that doesn't seem like a lot, but you still get like $271 back, you know, so that's, you know, some extra money. So how much money will you have to invest into an account that pays 3% annual interest rate compounded continuously? If you want that bank account to be at $10,000 in 8 years. So if you read this question, you guys, it's kind of backwards. So when it says how much money would you have to invest, what it's asking you is, what is P going to be? What they're giving you is A. A equals 10,000. Okay, so let's rewrite that one. So I have A is 10,000 equals P, E to the R, your rate is 0.03. T is going to be in 8 years. Okay, my goal is to find P. So we're kind of working backwards here. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. First thing I want you guys to do with your calculator is you're going to focus on what is E to the 0.03 times 8. So I want to figure that out first. So grabbing my calculator, I'm going to do second E, 0.03 times 8. Well, that's going to give me 1.27. Okay. So I'm going to rewrite this as with 10,000 equals P times this entire thing with the E just get replaced as 1.2712. Okay. How do you get rid of that 1.272? Well, you know they're multiplied. So what's opposite of a multiplication? Division. So I'm going to divide 10,000 by 1.272. So I'm going to go back here and put 10,000 divided by my last answer, 1.2712, blah, blah, blah. And it's going to give me $7,866. So if I want to get $10,000 back in 8 years at 3% return annually, I would have to invest at least $7,866 initially. Okay, so your P is equal to 7,866.28. I'll just round that up. All right, you guys, I'm going to stop right here. We'll continue working with these questions. So next, I'm going to have you guys do is you're going to go to your Desmos. So with your Desmos, we're going to start off with this QR code. Oh, there it is. I was like, where is it? I don't see it. So go to that QR code, sign in using either your Google account or you can sign in with a Desmos account. And then go ahead and get started. It's just introduction to logarithms. And there are several questions there. So I'm going to share with you guys what it will look like here. Once you log in, I'll go back to the QR code. You'll see something that looks like this. I signed up as Callahan. So start the activity, go ahead and get started with it. And then you'll have the questions right here, okay? It asks you about Nicolas Cage, so go ahead and pick one of your choice. There are 17 questions. I'm gonna put carefree Nicolas Cage. You're gonna hit next, and then right there, go ahead and match the tiles. When you're done, go on to the next one. And from my side, I am able to see like how you guys are doing with this. So if I go on my link, the way that I'm going to grade this is as long as I have your score here, you should be good. So I will have you guys under this one here. Let's go to assign activities, enter the logs. So right here, Haley, Daisy, and Alondra, I already have you guys going. Dr. Callahan is right there. That's me. So I'll be able to track to see how far you guys go to. As long as you finish the task, you guys will get full points. Okay. All right. So with that said, happy working, you guys. And I'm going to turn you guys loose to go ahead and work on that. And for those of you guys at Zoom, I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.